Hey everybody, welcome to episode 29 of the Fiberista Files. Today is, I don't actually know, Sunday, March 27th, 2011. Today is also Maine Maple Sunday. If you've never been here in Maine on the last Sunday of the month, you've missed out. Not the last Sunday, the last Sunday of March is Maine Maple Sunday, which is when all of the maple sugar, maple syrup houses collectively have open houses across the state, and you can go to the sugar houses, you can see maple syrup being made from the big evaporators, you can buy all kinds of really yummy maple products, including this is maple flavored cotton candy, which is fan-freaking-tastic. I am not much of a fan of cotton candy, but this stuff is phenomenal. You can see there's a big gap at the top where I've already eaten a huge chunk. I did buy some maple syrup this weekend. Today, if you heard that, that's the train. This is pure maple syrup, and of course they have the French on there as well. It's not cheap, but it is fantastic. This is grade A medium. They come in light, medium, and dark varieties. I've lived in Maine my entire life, and I've never participated in a maple sugar sundae before. This is the first time. I love it. I love it so hard. If you Google Maine Maple Sunday, you'll get a bunch of information on what it is and places that you can go and things. We went to Bob's Sugar House in Dover Foxcroft, and I will link that in the show notes because they do have a website. I'll get to that one later. All right, it's been a busy week. If you've been following me on Plurk or elsewhere, you know that I've been in the dyepots quite a bit. In fact, last week I had the lid of a tote to show you all. This week I've actually got the tote because I have a lot to show you. So why don't I get started on that? Let's see. The first thing I want to show you is some worsted, some white ash worsted that I have dyed. Sorry, that's a paper bag. That's going to fall. Okay. The white ash worsted is about the only thing in the shop lately that hasn't been getting any love, and I'm not really sure why because the stuff is amazing. It's a singles wool. I've talked about it before. It's got a single ply, but it's a nice, squishy worsted weight. This is out of Africa. This is a blend of yellows, canaries to creams. I have two of each of these. I have Romeo and Juliet, which is a nice dusky rosy pink with, it almost kind of blends into like some lavender a little bit. That's Romeo and Juliet. And this one is Beowulf. This one has not been ball banded yet because I just reskeined it. You can just see how smushy this stuff is. Each of these are 245 yards approximately. This one, because it's a reddish brown, occasionally there are, I know there are some right here. Occasionally you'll see that the dye will leave, if it doesn't dissolve completely, it leaves a teeny little red dot on the fiber. That's just, it's really not a big deal. And in fact, most of the time when you're knitting, you don't see it in the finished object. You can see there's actually two in this one. It's just from where the dye doesn't dissolve completely. That red is a real pain to get it to dissolve. If that's a problem for you, you know, at least you know about it. But generally speaking, it doesn't show up in the finished knit object. So that's Beowulf. Those will all be in the shop soon. I've also dyed up some sock yarn. I dyed up the cone. I got the cone on Thursday, and by Saturday afternoon they were all dyed and done. It's been busy. I dyed up 6 skeins of Empress. Empress is a very popular colorway of mine. It is a, let me see, a medium green, a spring green, and then a violet purple. And, you know, this is one that I twisted the other way so that the purple's on the top instead of the green, just to show you the difference. And then this one I tried to reskein, but when you're going from a 2-yard skein to another 2-yard skein, it doesn't separate all that much. So that's like the only part that you can see really how it would knit up. But Empress. I have 6 of these. I had one person on Etsy who asked me to dye this up for her. She will be getting a reserved listing. The other 5 are just going to go up in the shop. Normally I only list 1 at a time, and then I click to relist it if it sells, but this time I think I'm going to put all 5 up in the shop and pay the 20-cent, bless you, kitty, pay the 20% listing fee on each of these because I think they'll sell. So that's Empress. I dyed up another skein of Trickster, which was the purple, orange, and black skein. Sock yarn again, 425 yards, 75% superwashable, 25% nylon. So there's that one. And then this one, I think I'm going to call this Holiday. It just looks like vacation to me. It is bright orange and brilliant blue. And then there was supposed to be some gray in there, but the gray didn't come through so well. It more blended with the blue to make blue-gray and with the orange to make green. So it definitely blended in a little bit. So there's a little touch of some other colors here in there, but I like this. I love that blue. I think that blue is fantastic. It's a new dye I just bought. So that's Holiday. I also had this skein, this cone of sock yarn was very generous to me because I plan on getting 12 skeins. And then usually there's a little bit extra. Like usually at the end of 12 skeins I have like this much left off the cone. Which you can see isn't really enough for a skein. But it is, you know, there's some remainder there. This time I got 13 skeins and I got a little sampler. What I did with the sampler was I dyed it up in Trickster the same way. I did not reskein this, so this is exactly how I dyed it up. And you can see it starts with the orange, blends into the black, then into the violet, back into the black, and then back into the orange. I dyed this up right at the same time. There's a couple of reasons I do use the extras. 1, I hate to waste. 2, the samples are really good if you want to knit up a swatch of a particular colorway. I would love to have swatches of all of my colorways, but that's not very realistic probably. But I can knit this up to show people what it's going to look like. And also, if somebody, if somebody has kind of a big order of fiber, say, you can pop this in as an extra, like a little bonus. It doesn't cost me anything. I've already paid for the coat of yarn. This is an extra. It's just going to get thrown away. So I can pop that in there, and they, it's a little value-added thing. People think they're getting something more, which they are, and then, I get my products out there so people can actually squish it and touch it and enjoy it, and it doesn't cost anything. So that's Trickster. That's a little sample. I think that's 92 yards of that. So the other sock yarn I dyed up is a colorway that you've seen before, but I dyed it up in fiber. I dyed it in Falkland and Superwash Merino Tencel. It's the colorway Greenwood. This is a rich foresty blend of greens, browns. Trying to get that to focus. Come on. It's not going to, sorry. Greens, browns, and silver gray. You can see there's kind of a little patch of the silver gray right there. There are some lighter dyed areas. I don't want to call them undyed because they're mostly a very faint trace of whatever color they were closest to. It does look a lot more, I think, like the Superwash Merino Tencel version of this than it does the Falkland. But it's a nice manly color. See, Stephen, I'm thinking about you all the time, bub. And all of my other male viewers and knitters and listeners. So this is Greenwood, and I have 3 of these. Let's see. Oh, I've been dyeing lace too. I dyed up 6 skeins of lace this time. I still have another 6 to do. I have to still get them off the cone. I was more concerned, honestly, with getting some more sock yarn in the shop. But I am on the process. I re-dyed moss. The first time I re-dye something is always a bit of a challenge because I'm really hoping that it comes out like the previous version. But you're never really sure that a colorway is repeatable until you try it. So this is moss. This did come out almost the same. Might be a tiny bit darker, but if so, it's not an appreciable really difference. So that's moss, and I have 2 of these. Again, they're 1,100 yards. I think they're actually 1,125, but I market them as 1,100 yards, 4 ounces. And then This one is a new one. I'm calling this one Lady Slipper. It's a blend of hot pink and hot rose almost. Like it's a real blendy version of pinks, lights to darks. I love this. I think this one came out fantastic. Actually, I'm very pleased with this. If you like pink, you're going to love this one. And I have two of these as well. So this is Lady Slipper. This is Moss. I dyed another one, but I can't show it to you, and I can't even tell you what color I dyed it because it was a request, a custom order from Patty, who's a friend of mine on Plurk, and she's on Virtual Knit Nights a lot. She said, hey, I want to knit this wrap. It's knit out of lace weight. I need 2 skeins. Pick me a color and dye it, and don't tell me what it is. Just send it to me. Now, if she had been a friend of mine for years, I would have said, sure, no problem, and not been worried about it. But she's new to my timeline, and I was a little nervous, honestly, that I was going to mess it up and she wasn't going to be happy. And I looked at the wrap pattern 15 times on Ravelry and thought colors in my head and said, that one's too bright. That one's going to look, she's going to look like a grape, or, so finally I tracked her down on a Virtual Knit Night and I said, you got to give me some more feedback than just dye me something. And I showed her a couple of colors and she did like them. So I dyed up a pair of skeins for her. They will be a reserve listing with no photos, and she'll be getting those. As soon as she gets them and gives me the okay, I will go ahead and show you some pictures about what that colorway is, because it's gorgeous. I'm so pleased. It came out way better than I'd anticipated. It's been a good week in the dye pots, really. I did dye up just a little bit of fiber. Lisa, Lemon Song on my Plurk, said that she wanted some cherry blossom, so I did some up in BFL. It's all the roses and pinks again, same, not quite the same colors, but almost, and then it's mixed in with like a tree branch brown as well. So I did 3 of these. One of these is Lisa's, and the other ones will be in the shop. And this one was supposed to be bright, bright blue and black, and what I decided was I didn't want the colors to run and upset me, so I denied it the vinegar that it needs to set well. The black the dark gray that you see here is the same black that's in this. It was the same, literally the same squirt bottle of color. But when you deny it the vinegar, it goes from this black, when it has it, to this sort of storm cloud gray. And I let the blue blend in, and you can see there's still some, I did give the blue some vinegar. But again, if you deny it that same amount, you can see the difference between this blue and, see if I can get some of the glare from the light, and this one. That's the same blue. It's the same strength. It's the same everything, only the fiber did not get the vinegar. The sock yarn did. I'm calling this Wait a Minute. And if you've been in Maine any length of time, you'll hear the saying in Maine that says, if you don't like the weather, wait a minute. Because the weather in Maine changes all the time. Literally from morning till afternoon, you can have a completely different day. So what I started with was this nice sunny, bright sky blue. And then, the oh my gosh, Armageddon is about to happen, stormy, dark storm clouds gray. And it's almost a purpley gray. Almost like a sooty purple. It's kind of hard to show you, but it's wonderful. And I'm very pleased with the way it came out, because it does, to me, look like that moment when you've been having fun and then all of a sudden the sun goes behind the cloud and you look up and, oh my God, black. And you better get inside quick, because there's about to be, a huge storm that's going to unleash all over you. So this is Falkland. I have 2 braids of this. That will be in the shop. Nobody asked for this specifically, so that'll be in the shop soon. So this is called Wait a Minute. And then I did manage to recreate the silk that I was singing about. I don't know if it was last week or the week before. The hot pink and purple one, the dye accident, if you can call it that, because they are just dye stoppers. But the one that I was singing about how beautiful it was. This is that hot corally pink. And this is a good reflection of that right there. The hot corally pink mixed in with that purpley violet. So I have 2 of these. One is 2 ounces. One is 1 5/8 ounce. Katie from Knitting on the Fly had already asked for this one. She was bummed that she didn't grab it. Somebody else grabbed it ahead of her when I put it in the shop. So she's going to get one, and then the other one, I think it's also Patty Odell's, the same woman who's getting the lace yarn. She'll get first refusal after Katie does. So if she decides she doesn't want it, I'll put this up in the shop. But I was very pleased to be able to recreate these results because, again, you really have no idea whether or not anything's going to happen again the same way. Motion, which was a superwash BFL fiber, I haven't been able to recreate it. I've recreated the wrong version twice, but I haven't done the correct version again. So you never really know. All right, let me see what else. Is that everything? Yep, that's everything. The weather today is more of the bright blue than the gray. It's kind of a mostly sunny day today. I'm really hoping it's supposed to get warm later this week. It's been cold this weekend. It's been in the 20s, 30s with a really cold wind. So I'm hoping soon that we'll get some warmer sunshine and warmer temperatures to melt the rest of our snow. Moving on. Processes. I already talked about the extra bits of yarn and what I do with that. This is one that I'm going to skein up soon, and I'll do that in another colorway, yet to be determined. I do the same thing with fiber. A lot of the times, because sometimes I overestimate the 4-ounce bundles, sometimes it's 4 1/4 ounces or 4 1/8, that last braid of fiber is often less than 4 ounces. It's 3 5/8 or 3 1/2. And those are usually the ones that I'll keep. I will hang on to them. I will dye them something that I personally have wanted and then keep it and spin it and either sell the hand spun or use it for something myself, or I will dye it a colorway and then I'll break them up into little 1-ounce braids and send them when I send spindles. So it's the same thing. You get a little bit of value added when you're with your package. So, you know, fiber's the same way as the yarn. That little extra doesn't ever get wasted. I spent all day Saturday in the dye pots. I spent Friday night in the dye pots. I have 2 pans going in the oven. I dye up 2 pans, put them in the oven, and while they're cooking, I do the next 2, which when you factor in rinsing the squirt bottles and redoing the dye solutions and redyeing and all that, it takes me probably 75% to do it, and then that rest of the 25% I'm just waiting for the timer to go off. But of the 45 minutes the fiber cooks in the oven, I probably spend 30 to 35 minutes getting the next 2 pans ready. So you're always working, which to me I enjoy because I feel like I'm accomplishing something instead of just waiting for the timer, which is awesome. And at the same time that the fiber is going in the oven, I can have 2 to 3 pots of kettle dyed semi-solids going on the stovetop. So the lace yarn, for example, can be dyed at the same time as the fiber because they don't use the oven. They get cooked in the kettle. So I try to keep things going. I spent all day yesterday. I was so tired. By about 7 o'clock, my back ached, my feet hurt, my knees were tired. I was just grumpy. But I wanted to take today off, not counting the podcast. So, and rescanning and labeling and working on spindles and everything else. Today's big off. It's a weekend day for me. But at least I'm not dying, so I have a chance to rest up a little. Let's see. I also taught my husband this week, or last week, how to do the PayPal shipping. It's not that it's hard, it's just that I have a little bit of OCD tendencies when it comes to packing and shipping orders. Like, I have a specific way to do it. So he finally convinced me to let him learn my way of doing it so that I would be pleased, but he could take that burden off of me because I was staying up till 10 or later at night trying to get boxes taped up and fiber orders put in and everything. So I print the packing slip, I write my little note on the packing slip, I hand it to him, he's fixing the boxes, packing the orders, putting the packing slip in, printing the shipping label, taking him to the post office for me. It's been awesome. It has speeded up what I do, and it has alleviated something that for me is not a very enjoyable task. Tape is a pain in the butt to deal with. I hate tape. So I'm really pleased that he's able to do that. So if you're getting a package from me, or you have had a package from me recently, there's a little bit of love in there from my husband too. So I just wanted to point that out. growth. Spindle kits have been hugely popular. Thank you again, Fiber Nymph, and everybody else who has mentioned the spindle kits that they've received. A lot of those that went out, they're at their new homes, and I've seen a lot of clerks lately about first yarns being spun on these spindles, and I love that. I love seeing what you guys create. I love seeing what you were able to accomplish with the spindle, and I love that you're having fun, so keep those pictures coming. I love them. Okay, so sorry about the jump. I just edited out my stomach that was on TV and me dropping some stuff. These are the spindles that we're working on right now. These ones are all done. They need to go in the shop. The thickest ones that you can see there, the second one and the fourth one, fifth one, I can count. Those heavyweight ones are the ones that'll go in spindle beginner spindler kits, because the heavy ones, generally, the heavier ones are better for beginners. And then there's some medium weights and some lighter weights here. So I've got a butt ton of spindles that need to go in the shop. I also have 8 more that need to be varnished, and those will go in the shop as well. And then I don't know what we've got after that. You'll see too that we've been experimenting, and we have some with thicker shafts and some with thinner shafts. These are 3/8 inch shafts, and these are 1/4 inch shafts. So I don't know if you can see the difference really clearly there. It's not anything that is significant or would affect the way the spindle spins. It's just a personal choice thing. A lot of the beginner spindles have a thicker shaft. They're a little bit easier to grab a hold of. And for the lighter weight spindles, like this is a lightweight spindle, you can see it's actually quite tall. So you can pack a lot of fiber on there, but because it's a thinner shaft, to go with a thinner whorl, it's much lighter. So those of you who have a spindle kit and you think you're ready to upgrade, time for a lighter spindle. I'm just saying. Way to plug myself in that. And some of those still have cup hooks, and some have moved on to the hand-turned hooks. They work the same. I think the cup hooks are a little bit more rugged for beginners because they're less likely to bend. But if you don't mind, hand bending a hook back, if you drop it and it bends a little bit, it's all exactly the same. I was going to say something about that, and now I forgot. Oh, I'm all out of the Corriedale top that I was using in the spindle kits. Corriedale top, I've mentioned before why it's such a good yarn fiber for beginners. I do have some Blueface Leicester. It's a non-superwash BFL, and that's probably like the second best, in my opinion, fiber. So I may do up some kits if I've got some people who are brave and daring and want to try BFL. It's just as long of a staple. It's smoother, so it's a little bit, the fibers don't grab each other quite as well as the Corriedale, so you might drop it a little bit more often, but anything, that you practice, you'll get better on. I love BFL. BFL and Superwash BFL are some of my absolute favorites, and it is much smushier and softer to handle. So I can absolutely do that if anybody wants. Let me know. You can message me on Plurk, on Boutros Babe. You can message me on Etsy, Highland Handmaids on Etsy. You can message me on Ravelry. I'm Boutros Babe on Ravelry, BOUTROSBABE. I'll link myself down in the show notes so that you can see it. But I'm around. I'm on Facebook. Find me, let me know what you want, and I can create a reserved listing. I've had to start taking notes because everybody says, "Hey, that thing's gone. Can I have it?" So I have to keep this little bear. He's gonna fish, and I have to keep notes now on what exactly everybody is asking for because I can't keep it straight. Business has been so busy lately that it's kind of caught me unawares. I think the first 100 sales I had in my Etsy shop took 14 months to achieve. Yeah, took 14 months to get 100 sales, and then I'm 8 shy of my 200 sale, and that's happened in 2.5 months. So it really, my business has grown tenfold in the past month, and it's awesome. To everybody who's mentioned me, to everyone who's spread the word, to everyone who's bought from me, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Because I'm 8 away from 200, my 200th sale, just like on my 100th sale, will get a little something extra. So if you're watching my sales and it gets close, buy a couple things and you'll get you'll get a little thank you gift from me. So 200 sales coming soon. I'm very excited about that. I've also had a bunch of people in the past week or two who have said, hey, I really want to send somebody something. Can I buy it from you and you can ship it to them? It's been awesome. The generosity of knitters and spinners has been really humbling to me this past week. Many of you know Mommy Needs Yarn just got a wheel. So a bunch of people got together to give her a wheel warming gift and either sent her fiber from their stash like I did or bought something from my shop and had me ship it to her. So it's been fantastic. I love that. A couple other people have received gifts or are receiving gifts as well, and I don't want to mention that just yet because I haven't sent them out, but it's been great, and I really love that. I love being able to spread some positivity and presence around. It's been excellent. I mentioned last week that I really like it when people comment on the Etsy sales and when they message me and let me know that they're watching and buying from me and that they've even received their stuff, not gotten, that's not a word. Thank you. This past week has been a love fest for me. I've been so pleased. I've had messages on Ravelry, on Etsy, on Plurk, all of the places that I'm around saying, hey, watch your podcast, thanks, it's informative, or hey, you sold me some yarn and I got it, it's great, thanks. I appreciate that so much. I pride myself on my customer service, but even if I didn't, that interaction and hearing that the stuff has gone to where it needed to be and that people are pleased with what I'm doing really makes me, really warms my heart. So I thank you for all the comments and everything that I've received this past week or two. So keep that because it's awesome. Thank you. I'm really touched by that. Let's see. What else? Oh, man. Kind of cranking through this. I just last night sat down to figure out what I need to order for the next show that I'm doing, which is in May, the Acadia Fiber Festival. The way I do it is I take my price lists from my distributor and I set them aside and I think about all the lovely things that I would like to have and I make a list of 5 pounds of this, I need 6 cones of that, I want this, and then I make like my big giant wish list. And then I pick up my price lists and I go through and list out how much everything is. This particular show, my order is something like $840, which is more than it's more than I have right now. So what I've decided to do is break down into what I need right now and what I can wait a little bit on. And I'm going to order half of it now, try and sell through the 3rd week in April, and then do the second order and use use that money that I've earned in the next couple weeks to purchase the next round, which will go specifically towards the shop. So towards the show inventory. So fingers crossed, that's my plan. I'm waiting on some money to come in from from PayPal into my bank account so I can make that order. So there will be more Corriedale soon. If you want a spindle kit but you want it with the Corriedale, hang tight a couple of weeks and there will be more of that in the shop as well as some more sock yarn and things like that. So that's what I'm doing. Let's see. Oh, I can't even believe I forgot to mention this last week. I don't know why it escaped my brain because I'm so excited. I had submitted 2 proposals to Fiber College, which is in September in Searsport here in Maine. And of those 2 proposals, both were accepted. So I will be an instructor at the 2011 Fiber College this year. Yay! I'll be teaching absolute beginner spindling on Friday and spindle plying techniques on Sunday. I am, to use the main phrase, wicked excited about this. I love to teach. Obviously, it's what I do in my day job. I love fiber. I love to share my love of both with others. So if you're in the Maine area or even New England, consider coming up to Fiber College. It is a very laid back, easy, fun learning event. So much fun. I'll be there. I'd love to say hi and get to know you guys in real life instead of just over the computer. I'd love for you to take my class. And I'm just saying, but it's going to be good. Astrid, who is the coordinator of the Fiber College, is a great person to interact with. She's always so excited about things and enthusiastic about what you're doing. So I'm excited. I'm so happy. Yay! Okay. I have 2 things for grabby hands, and I'm going to call it done. Of course, one of them I can't find, so it may wait till next week because I don't know what I did with it. Yay for me. Wow. Way to be organized. Okay. We all know I live in Maine. I talk about it all the time. I was at Mr. Paperback today, which is a local bookstore, and I picked up this book. It is called The Wicked Big Toddler. See, there's that word wicked again. It's by Kevin Hawkes, and this is a Maine book. It's a children's book similar to the Wilbur that I showed you the other day, a couple weeks ago. And it talks about this new baby that this family gets, and it's just filled with these really subtle, like, cute Maine humor jokes. And this is a book about a big baby that's born. And the Uncle Bert who visits says, "That's a wicked big toddler you got there, Jesse." And I mean, it's all Maine accent and Mainisms. It says, like, these little balloons say, "It's another Mainer." And then this one over here says, "Yeah, it's a boy." It's just funny. And Grant Lumba, AH, because we drop our R's and add AH. Here in Maine, I don't, but that's the English teacher in me. But one of the reasons I wanted to show it to you this week was because I was talking about Maine Maple Sunday, and it says, "Toddy loves to be involved with everything, even making maple syrup in the spring mud season. He likes to take free samples now and then. That's a wicked big mess," says Uncle Bert. And here he is, getting the little maple, the sap collected out of the tree. And he's just covered in maple syrup, and there's like a moose stuck to him. There's some super cute stuff going on in that. So this book is called The Wicked Big Toddler by Kevin Hawkes. And definitely, if you enjoy Maine, if you've ever been to Maine, this is a book that you should get and share with your kids. I mean, he eats blueberries. No, that's the ice cream. Where's the blueberries? It's seasonal, too. It goes from the winter through the spring, summer, fall. The blueberry harvest is in August. Fun factoid, Maine wild blueberries produce 70% of the nation's blueberries. And then it goes into fall. I mean, it goes straight through the seasons, which is pretty awesome. And then, "Hi, how are you doing?" Wait, what does it say? "Hi, how are ya?" "Hi, how are ya?" And then, I don't know if you can see, there's this little cow over here. And it says, "Don't shoot, I'm a cow," and it's in fluorescent orange. People totally put orange on their cows sometimes. Not all of them. Not all of them. But there are. It's been known to happen. People have put orange blankets or vests on their cows so they don't get shot during deer season. So, that's what I had this week. This sounds like it's another long episode. I'm all thirsty and stuff. So, let me just check and make sure. Oh, no, you know what? I'm not quite done. I wanted to send a quick thank you to Tina, Knitter Freak on Plurk. She's a customer and a friend of mine, and she sent me this. I was complaining the other day to her that my spinning wheel oil tip had broken. This is a thin needle for putting on. Watch, I'm going to break it right now. I'm not going to take that off. For putting oil on your spinning wheel, and mine broke way down here, so I couldn't use it anymore, and I was frustrated. So when Tina found some the other day, she bought me one and sent it to me just because she knew I was looking for it. Awesome. Thank you, Tina. I'm so appreciative. I talked about my Giro Soleil a couple of weeks ago and what I'm doing with that. I broke a Knitpicks cable. I called them. I got another one. I ended up getting frustrated and just bought some more cables anyway. I'm on the 3rd row of the first repeat of the last chart. I don't know if you can see. This thing is on 120 inches of cable. And, oh, look at this pretty. I can see through the holes. And you can see it's huge. It's so big. It's still a little bit bunchy, even on the 120 inches, so I'm hoping to get that done sometime this lifetime. It takes me almost an hour, I think, a row, because I have to push the yarn all the way around that needle, and it's wicked heavy. This is all in natural, undyed, kind of scratchy wool. My dad picks it up for me when he goes to, like, Blue Seal stores, and it's just, no brand, somebody has sheep and they get their stuff spun, and then he buys it for me. So I'm knitting that up as sort of a thank you, and so he can see it and see that I do knit the stuff that he gives me. So that's that plan there. I've said so about 10 million times today. I apologize. In case you didn't notice, go back and start again and count them all up for me. That'd be great. The last thing I have to say is I wanted to show that I have some more of these. These are called Wisps. They are from Will-O-the-Wisp Soap Company. I don't know if that will focus on that. Will-O-the-Wisp Soap is another Maine Highland company. Not to say that it's from ours, but that it exists in the Maine Highlands, which is the foot of the Appalachians. This scent is lemon verbena. This little, handcrafted soap. I have, say it with me, a butt ton. I have a whole bunch of these soaps in here. I will link Will-O-the-Wisp in the show notes. Her stuff smells awesome. I even have some manly soap. So, Steven, if you buy from me again, let's be honest, when you buy from me again, you can have this one's evergreen. It's a nice manly soap for you. So, I have some gender-neutral soaps to send out. I'm not sure if these will go in every package. I'm also going to be creating some more lavender sachets, however you say that, little things of lavender. I'm out right now, and I was out of the soap, so nothing's had anything in it lately, but I want to, as sort of a thank you, promote other Maine businesses as well as give you something for all that you guys do for me. So you'll either get a soap, you'll get a little sachet, whatever, or of lavender. I would really love to have some little packages of local honey. I have to find a honey distributor because I don't know anybody who makes honey. You're not getting the maple sugar cotton candy. Not sharing that. But anytime I can find a Maine product to throw in the box so you guys get a little bit of a bigger slice of Maine, I like to do that. So soaps will be coming soon. I'm wicked excited. Oh, there's that word again. Wicked excited about that. And the lady who owns that company is very, very nice and very, very willing to help us out. So thank you to her. I think that was it this time. Oh, last thing. A little tidbit of something I learned this week. I was going through my Blip dashboard where all my episodes are, and it tells me how much, I earn like a little teeny bit of money for every time an episode is watched. And I was looking, I clicked on the earnings, and there's this big pie chart that had like 25% yellow and the rest was blue. And the 25% that was yellow are the views that I've had that have earned me money. Turns out, if you watch me on iTunes, if you watch anybody who has Blip, the Knit Girls, Dramatic Knits, Mommy Needs Yarn, any of those people that you watch through iTunes, because the commercial doesn't play in the beginning, we don't get any money for that. And that's fine. I have absolutely no problems, obviously, if you guys watch me on iTunes. That's why I put myself there to begin with. However, if you don't feel the need to watch us through iTunes, consider watching us through the Blip TV player. If you don't mind the commercial and you don't mind having to actually go to a blog to watch it, we do earn a little bit of money for that, and it helps us offset our hosting fees. Blip itself costs us money to host the episodes, so I just wanted to put that out there in case anybody didn't know, because I didn't know, and the more information, the better. So if you don't care if you watch me on iTunes or not, feel free to go to thefiberistafiles.com and watch me there. If you don't, that little 15 or 30-second commercial at the beginning does help me offset the costs of production. So that's all I've got this week, finally. And until next week, guys, happy spinning and knitting, and thanks for tuning in.